Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.
Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.
Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.
Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.
T. Mizzle the Great, what's going on, Judah?
Chilling. Mark from 7 Mile, what's up with you?
Same old. What's happening?
Man. We got another one today, man. Some shit going on out there, ain't it?
Shit going on, man. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year's 2019, yo. How was everybody 2019? Yep. You know what I'm saying? How was your 2019,
Oh,
T?
man, everything was smooth, man. You know what I'm saying? Everything was kosher, man. You know what I'm saying? Ready to bring it in, you know. So, hey, peace up 2019, y'all. Everybody, hey, be good out here. Get that money and stay safe, y'all.
Man, what about you, Mark? How was your 2019 bringing it in?
Regular ass day, for the most part, just working.
Working, man. Like you say, get that money, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing changed but the year, you know what I'm saying? You still got to live out here, do your day-to-day chores, you know what I'm saying?
Man. So today, man, we going to go over this book, man, Devastation of the Indies, man. We got Aseer calling in, man. The more, man, you already know it. Back on Truth Talk Nation, man, to drop some of them dimes, man, for the people.
Yeah, anytime we got Aseer coming back, man, you know it's going to be a big show, you know what I'm saying? Like you say, Devastation of the Indians, so... Man, I can't wait to feel you can touch base on that book. You know what I'm saying? I'm very interested myself. So,
man, you can get this book right now on Amazon for about eBay too for about under $10, $10-15, man. You know what I'm saying? It give you a brief account of everything that went down when in the Indies, man, when the conquistadors touched down, man, and just started slaughtering nations, man. Each island had a damn king and queen, man, was already established. People was just giving them things and they still slaughtered them. So, you know, as I was reading this book, I was just like, damn, man, they was burning people at the stake. You know what I'm saying? With no fight. People wasn't even fighting them back until the end, man, until a lot of them realized that they was in deep shit. You know what I'm saying? So
damn, but like I say, kings and queens, man. So you know it got to be, you got to fight over territory. You know what I'm saying? Everybody probably had their own little island or whatever they were separated at, you know what I'm saying? So you know it got to be beef when it comes to true kings and queens.
Man, so you know what I'm saying, like I said, we got Aseer calling in.
Aseer,
what's up with you, man? Judah, how you doing, man? Aseer.
T. Mizzle, how you doing, Aseer?
Peace, my brothers. How are you today?
Man, welcome back, man, to Truth Talk Nation, yo. How you been? 2019.
Inshallah. I still got a couple more months to go. We're in the fiscal new year now. You know, the true year to us is usually in March.
Yeah.
You're right.
You already know. So it's like, you know, we got a couple more months. So I'm just trying to hold it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's been a lot of crazy things going on, man. I wanted to get into how your take on the devastation of the West Indies, man. This book by Bartholomew de La Casa.
Mm-hmm. Really good.
Yeah, man, I got to reading it, and it was saying to where when the conquistadors came over here, everything was already established. Each island had a king, queen, or both, and they was just going from island to island, raping and pillaging everything that they can get, even though they was offered jewels, gold, and everything. But particularly, particularly like the islands of like Guatemala and Hispaniola. Was it Hispaniola?
Hispaniola. What they call Hispaniola.
Yeah, I just want to get your take on that. What you think about the book and get a public some knowledge.
I think that book was real good. There's another book called. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. There's another book called Destruction of Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. Was another really good book. I got that one and one you're talking about kind of at the same time. And There's another one that's really good called the Black Jacobins, or Jacobins, which basically were all basically about the fact that most of the what we call colonial powers, or what became the colonial powers, developed from this wayward Spanish, so-called Spanish expedition to come over here and basically, you know, extend the jurisdiction that they didn't have. Because, I mean, the reality of it was also that once the kingdom was sold, what the Romans did, once the kingdom of Granada was sold, what the Romans did, who today we call Spanish, what they did was basically try to extend the fact that the kingdom was sold, and then try to extend that to the people being sold as well. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I sold you this building, but in selling you the building, and you selling me the building, I'm going to take it like you selling me the people that's in the building too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Because those people are not considered to be Christian. Therefore, they're Saracen or pagan, which means we have the right to take and rape and kill them, because the type of Christianity that they were building on was all based on Satanism. Basically, the Templars, the Knights Hospitaller, all of that stuff is low-key Luciferianism, even back then. You know what I'm saying? So this was a means to an end, basically to, one, force their genetics into us, so that way we would be perpetually in a situation where we would be phenotypically or more connected to them, meaning that we had our own separate culture, and had been separated from these people for so long that by the time they decided to extend their jurisdiction and come over here and do what, you know, we read about in that book, they had already basically been mad from the fact that we had ruled over them for almost 900 years from that point. So this was really just, you know, these people who had never been out of nowhere going to a place, or being brought to a place by people who were only helping them because they themselves were forced into it. They children, they wives being ransomed and all of that. So some of these Moors decided to, you know, help these people. But in the end, anything done under duress or coercion, you know what I'm saying, is not a free choice. So when we talk about like us falling or whatever to these so-called white people, what we have to understand is that these so-called white people didn't exist in the context that we see them today. Just like so-called Arab people didn't, just like so-called Chinese people, Japanese people. Right. Like most of these people did not exist. You understand what I'm saying? Up until after our nationalities were compromised, and then these pseudo countries, people, you know what I mean, started coming up. Like Spain wasn't established till 1497.
Right.
So up until 1497, there was no Spain. So when you say that the Moors went up into Spain and conquered Spain, that couldn't be true, because that wasn't even the name of that place. So what were they doing? If they weren't Spaniards, what were they? They were Castilian, they were Navarrene, they were Aragonese. You see what I'm saying? But if you ask them what they were at the time, they would say Romans. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So just because we're calling them Spanish today doesn't mean that that's what they were at the time. That, you see what I'm saying? That they're writing this history telling us that this is what they were. That's like saying that the people in Egypt today are the same people that was there building the pyramids. Like, that's not true. But you have a whole contingency of so-called Arab people, especially messing with these Freemasons over there that run the Antiquities Museum. Like this guy named Zachary Hawass, who runs that stuff over there. All they doing over there is fixing the pictures, making the noses smaller, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Literally whitewashing the shit. Literally. So that way in another couple of 100 years or whatever, they can really pass this lie like they was really the ones doing it. Same thing. I just posted this thing on my Facebook page about how this geneticist from China was trying to find the origin of Chinese people having their own distinct marker, meaning their own distinct people, not related to nobody else. But he was sorely miseducated when he, or sorely surprised when he found out that all of the so-called markers that the Chinese got was basically based on a mutation, meaning the original markers that they had that represented them as Chinese people was related to so-called melanated or so-called African people, which then means that the precursor to the Chinese race, or the people we call today Chinese, is Asiatics. But we could see that when we look at cultures, the first cultures that were in what we call China, such as the Xiang, you know what I'm saying? The Xiang, which was one of the oldest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have all these people all over the world. Wait, let me finish what I was saying with him. So with that guy, he wound up saying that when he actually really did the research, he found out that the genetic marker that they had was actually a mutation, meaning that anybody that's not Asiatic, meaning melanated, you understand, is a mutation. This is the Chinese. So now ask yourself this, if that's the case, and this the Chinese dude that was trying to find the reason why that the Chinese was their own DNA and this and that, and then find out that all that DNA is wrapped up in us. It explains and gives you a better perspective than if they then know that they are the mutation. Then it makes sense as to why they run their countries and stuff the way that they do. You understand? People in China, they don't even have real food to eat. They make food out of plastic and wood pulp and all types of stuff. That's not really for human beings, but it makes sense why they can process that stuff. You see what I'm saying? They're doing what they're doing. It also makes sense as to why they're so into going into Africa now. Because to me, this geneticist that I'm talking about, he was sanctioned by the Chinese government. So therefore, this is them, to me, trying to find reasons to justify themselves genetically in their economic, colonization of the continent. This is them giving themselves justification. They say, well, we actually come from Africans, so there should be no reason why we can't be here today. You see what I'm saying? And because the Africans are not in control of their own affairs, they're going to go from one colonial power to the next. You know what I'm saying? And now in that, you have whole generations of people who are now going to have to contend with the Chinese Africans, the China Africans, that are going to basically be contesting to control the land in the next 20 years, 5, 10 to 20 years. That's what that's on. Because they can't live in China no more. China's a damn toxic waste.
It's a wasteland.
Yeah, man. It's terrible over there now.
It's horrible. It's a genetic disaster. It's an environmental disaster out there. That's why they do it in Africa. But the Africans are so used to not doing their own, they're now basically hostages. And some of these Africans are hostages in their own country. You understand? They teach in Chinese now with the basic language in Zimbabwe. You realize half the bridges and roads that they built in Africa is named for Chinese. And the Africans themselves, they can't even pronounce half the names.
Aseer, you said they're named after Chinese?
Say again?
You said you said in Africa they named after Chinese?
The
bridges?
Yeah, they named the bridges, the roads. Yeah, look it up.
Oh man,
Bridges and roads
deep.
built by China.
And they can't even pronounce them.
Names. Yeah, they don't give them African names. They go straight Chinese names because they're going to name it for the people who built it.
Name after them, right?
There they go.
That's deep, man.
So the Africans can do that. Africans can set up their own. Also, the economic echoes the economic aspect of this is crazy because the deals that the Chinese give the Africans is not the same deal that the Africans get from the Chinese. So there's no development projects of Africans in China right now. There's not one. You understand? So it's a deficit. It's a trade deficit. That means that China, all they're doing is just giving them money, right, to build stuff that they should really be building for themselves. But they not. They leaving it up to them. And then when they don't have the money to pay them back, it's like anything else. They say, okay, well, you don't got to pay the money back. What you could do is you could just give us these land rights. Give us these mining rights. Give us these drilling rights. Give us this thing. So it's like a drug. They're like, Africa's like a big shopaholic. It's like they can't stop themselves from spending. You know what I'm saying? And then here come the dude coming in like the book. And he's saying, okay, well, I gave you $60 million. Screw federal. I'll give you another $60 million.
Yeah, that's what it seems like is going on. Like the book right now, the devastation of the Indies. It seems like it's going on. It's turning in right now to the devastation of melanoid or the black male right now. From everything to the R. Kelly thing going on right now, that's blasted everywhere.
Oh wow! That was crazy.
Yeah. And
I watched that R. Kelly thing.
Yeah,
that was wild.
It's just wild, but it seems
the whole time I'm watching it. There's little things about it that's kind of bugging me out, like with Shorty. I'm looking at her like, okay, so he had sex with the girl. And you had sex with the girl, but we blaming him? Okay, so you knew the girl was 14, but you screwed her anyway with him. But it's his fault? Okay. My thing is, if you're going to indict this guy, go for everybody. Everybody was on the ride, man.
Everybody's accountable,
he
man.
forged documents for him to marry Aaliyah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he admitted it. Yeah, he admitted it.
Yeah, but then talk about, I wish I could have saved her. I wish I could have helped her. Why would you do that when you was participating in the rape?
In the Barker Act, right.
You know what I'm saying? My thing, too.
Everybody's accountable.
Okay, no doubt. People in the community was messed up. It's messed up what they did. No doubt. I'm not condoning pedophilia. It's not what I'm doing. Definitely not me with that shit. What I'm seeing, though, is the level of consistent hypocrisy with people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fact that you'll sit there and condemn this guy. Who is the devil? Like, he's the devil. You know? Or if not, he's the closest thing to the real one get here. You know? But that's no matter. This is the reality check. No matter what he do, people are never gonna stop listening to R. Kelly records. They're never gonna stop because too many human beings was born
through that era
with that music.
You're right, man.
And what I'm saying is that this nigga did this. They acting like this dude created the game. He's only doing what Elvis Presley and Jerry Lee Lewis and Hugh Hefner and Woody Allen, right?
Woody Allen.
All of these pedophiles. Harvey Weinstein, we talking about this. Harvey Weinstein still making movies. You know what I'm saying? They said that he was literally an animal. They said he was a wild beast with women. But ain't nobody going to Oprah talking about how she was enabling when she was talking about how much she loved Harvey and Harvey was her number one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all hypocrisy. Like, no doubt Robert is messed up, but it seemed like all of y'all was down with it. You know what I'm saying? And let's keep it real. Whatever the issue is, the nigga's plugged in. Because he got to quit it. Say what you want. Yes, he's destroying black communities, black cultures, but guess what, man? Where was these girls' parents?
Yeah.
Yeah, they ain't saying nothing about the parents.
That's what I was saying.
Where was the fathers at, man? Well, what I'm saying?
Well, they was caught up in the crack era, man. We dealing with crack babies.
Well, I
At
mean,
14 years
a
old.
lot of the parents were the reasons why they were in the clutches of this individual in the first place. I mean, they were brought to
That's what I'm
R.
saying.
Kelly
Where was
by.
the parents?
So why ain't nobody going in on Aaliyah's parents though? Right now, we been knew this 25
That's what
years
I'm
ago
saying.
inside Detroit.
The
This
haunting.
was under us coming from here. We heard it first, man, because it was announced on the radio. So we
Well, you
knew
gotta
about
know-
this, but
you
nobody
gotta-
went in on the parents.
You gotta know, coming from Detroit, that was a way out the
No.
hood. So anything like that, you know, you
And
dealing
that's
with
my
R. Kelly.
point,
Yeah,
Mo.
it's a way out the
Aaliyah,
hood.
Aaliyah
so,
was too celebrated
yeah,
from the city.
you come from Detroit,
You know what I'm
man.
saying?
So that was her way out the hood.
She was too celebrated for anybody to want
Exactly.
to bring her down,
Parents
her
embraced that,
tarnish
yeah.
her.
She the come up
angelic-
story. She
Come up
everybody
from
little
Detroit,
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in the
angelic
end,
image.
The parents was
her
happy
peoples
more
was
so
not
than,
looking out
you
for
know,
her.
afraid,
Her parents,
afraid
her
of her.
brother, all of them. Let me tell you, man. If I'd have found out that my sister was chilling with a pedophile, me and him would have talked about it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'd have heard him or done whatever, but we'd have had a discussion about that shit. And he'd have known, don't play that shit with my sister. You understand? Same thing. Forget the sister. What about the father? What about the
The
mother?
father was that, man.
I want to ask you one question too in the movie on this part, but they also said when he was going through trial on the south side of Chicago, he was hooking up with pastors and civil
Yep.
rights
They was
leaders
praying him out.
and kids, singing songs while being tried for a
right.
rape charge of an underage minor.
You're right, man.
That's
So
right.
so what is that saying for the state of the black community that they will allow a pedophile to come amongst them and celebrate
in the church.
in the church
Because
around children?
most of the niggas in the church is doing the same thing.
Same thing, man. Ain't no different, right?
You understand? Like, that's the reality. This
He
is
went
how.
to home, right?
Come on, man. How is it that every choir director in the church
They
gay?
go to church. Yeah.
How that work? How every church you go to, something up with
They
the
doing
choir
the same
director, you
damn
always gay.
thing. You're right, man.
Whether it be in the movie, whether it be, he always gay. Why? Same thing. Why the pastor always sleeping with somebody's wife? What's up with that? Because the aspect of what we understand the Christian black church to be, that became the backbone of the so-called black community after so-called slavery, post Civil War, Jim Crow, American segregation. You understand? So there's an unspoken relationship, though, with the ruling factors in the so-called black community and the ruling factors in the so-called white community. And because they are gripped up through fraternal obligations, each one got to play their part. T.D. Jakes is more of a brother to George Bush than he would ever be to one of us. Because George Bush is in the lodge that he is directly under, that his so-called lodge is directly associated with, analogous to.
You talking about the masonry lodges, right?
Say it again, Mo?
You talking about the masonry lodges, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about that Freemasonry stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Masonry is something different. Masonry, again, that's us learning, building with each other. We all born on the square. So we natural Masons. We don't have to study 35 to 50 years to be something that we was naturally born as. But when you don't know that, and you coming through this Roman Christian thing, they got you thinking the only way you could move up is to get gripped up and oafed up with these people. The problem with that stuff is, when you do that, you now open yourself up to the agenda of what those people are and what they do. You know what I'm saying? So one of those things in the agenda is maintaining the status quo as it is. And that quo is Negroes are slaves, white people are masters, and everybody else is in between. So just like in Django, when you see Steven and Carl Candy drinking cognac in the back room, and Steven is the one signing the checks, but everybody think Carl Candy's the one running shit, you see? We're dealing with that. And these guys are dealing with this as what Martin Luther King referred to as some crazy white brothers. and they attitudes and appetites have to be satiated.
Right.
So there was a big human trafficking raid in Atlanta about 3 weeks ago, where they arrested almost 2,500 members of the AKA.
I'm talking about the sorority group. Yeah, I heard about that.
Human trafficking and child abuse and child pornography. Look it up.
Damn.
You said this was going on. This was in Atlanta. The AKAs was trafficking women through the sorority and
they
fraternities,
trafficking women to these little soror brothers. You know what I'm saying? To their little white orgies, to go with their little white friends and their little white lodges. You understand? Because it's the thing. These blacks serve these white boys. They serve them. They are their masters. They act like they're their brothers, but they not. Because if they was brothers, they'd be working together. But the white man see them as a traitor, see them as traitors. But he'll use them to keep the real ones of us at bay. So he know that all he got to do is just give these niggas white women a couple of videos, some bling. You know what I'm saying? Like basic stuff.
Yeah.
So this is the climate that all of these people, that a lot of these people, I should say, are involved with.
Man.
And it's a multi-billion-dollar organized enterprise.
Yeah, because I had to
And
say.
so R. Kelly.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so R. Kelly being, once he started reaching that, once that nigga started doing records with Celine Dion and all of that,
Pop
once he reached
records.
that ultra level like that, that was it. That was it. And no matter what happened, he was going to be protected because pedophiles protect each other. Period. They just sentenced a sister to jail for 51 years. This girl is almost not even 20. For 51 years because she killed the dude that was trying to sell her back into sex slavery. She was in sex slavery from when she was a child. She finally escaped. The dude found her, put her in another situation. She felt her life was in danger. She fought for her life, killed this dude. These crackers are throwing her in jail for 51 years.
Yeah, I seen that one. That's your girl from Tennessee or something. Yeah.
Damn.
She
Yeah,
was.
but we all the black women talk about that.
Yeah.
All the black people outraged about
I ain't
that.
heard nothing about that, right?
Yeah. She killed her. She
How come
killed
they
her
not
dude.
upset about that?
She killed the man that was raping her.
Yes.
Yeah, she killed.
Like she was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I tell you, this country is the reverse. We are dealing with people who are mutations. And we are treating the mutations as if they are real people. And they are looking at us like you niggas are stupid.
Yeah, that's what I was reading this book, How White Folks Got Rich, the untold story of American white supremacy. It's telling you right there how they breaking it down, how, you know what I'm saying, we're the ones getting charged and getting the prison terms, but they the ones getting the marijuana dispensaries.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They're the ones getting the marijuana dispensaries. They're the ones shooting all the
They
police.
got the liquor stores. the
Look up
marijuana
police
dispensary.
shootings in 2018. 45% of the people that was shot by police was shot by white males. A part of that sovereign citizen bullshit that they trying to lump Moors into now because Moors just won't leave that garbage alone. And this is what I'm saying. Like we're beset on all sides by beasts, man. Whether they be black beasts, whether they be whatever, these niggas is beasts. They don't think the way that we do. They don't look and process things the same way that what we would consider regular human beings do. They just don't. And the more you try to make yourself equal to them, the more you are putting yourself in a subordinate position, black folk. Because black folk won't rule themselves or won't stand up to try to do anything for themselves. They've always got the beck and call of another race. And all these races do is just come in with Buddhism. We was rocking with Buddhism for 35,000 years, all the way up until King Kushan come, this Indo-Aryan fake white dude, go in there, set up Mahayana Buddhism, and now boom, Mahayana Buddhism, that's now the Buddhism that all the white people are dealing with. And we're going to match a language to that with Sanskrit. But what we're going to do is forbid all the dark-skinned, Dravidian, so-called Dalit black people from even reading Sanskrit. Then we're going to create a caste system to keep them always out of their own shit. This is what's been going on. And it ain't just the white man. It's anybody with the mentality that these dark faces is too much, so I need to lighten them up or kill them. We don't know how to think like that. Well, I don't, you don't. But there's certain black people, again, who have grown up color struck, who have grown up hating themselves, who really hate Moors. Like half the people that's talking the most about helping black people, these niggas hate black people. They hate them. Because if they did, they wouldn't be so combative with one another. Remember when the conscious community, when we would actually really talk about real shit, and we would really go at the devil? Not no more. Not no more.
Yeah, it seems like they embracing Luciferian nowadays,
it
man. It's an embrace. It's all on TV now. The artist is accepting it. It's in movies. It's being widely accepted.
Broadcasted now.
Everybody, man.
They forcing it down our kids' throats.
It's a new norm now, man. Everybody
like, yeah, you. R. Kelly is really stuck. But guess what? He was abused too. He was raped and abused. And there was a family. So that's what he says, that it's an ancestral family thought, that continuously went on in that thing. You understand? So we could say whatever we want. The women that was on TV, they could say whatever they want to say about him too and all of that, and I feel they pain. Like, I really do. And I'm not trying to negate it or be sarcastic about it or nothing. What I am saying, though, is that there's a preponderance of people to play the victim with shit. And what I seen on it was a bunch of people admitting to their involvement with it, but then putting it all on him like it was just him doing it. Like, you didn't have to do everything he said. You did it.
Yeah, should they be held as accessories? I mean, to a crime? I mean, if you're aiding in a
after the fact, that's what I thought. But he's gripped up. So, like I said, pedophiles protect their own. A pedophile will protect his own quicker than black people stand up for each other. You know what I'm saying? And when black pedophiles in a family is exposed, that's what usually happens with black people. They cover that shit up. They act like it was just Uncle Randy. No, it wasn't just Uncle Randy. Who touched him? You know what I'm saying? Who touched him to get him to the point that he felt he could do that? This is an ancestral thing. You got to remember, like you said in the book, Devastation of the Life in the West Indies. Remember, they would do shit like once they actually really started breaking Moors and started putting them into the torture sex rituals, because all of that was about getting into our genetics and switching it up, getting us to give them a bit of what we got genetically, that they could get a little bit of it. You understand? And then castigate us for it, literally. So when they was raping and doing what they was doing, they would take sons and daughters and beat them and then force them, put bags on their head and force them to have sex with their mothers and their grandmothers and their daughters and their sisters. Like, this is the shit that they used to do. Then we wonder why this thing is rampant in our society, because this was part of the breaking in, the buck breaking of the so-called black man. We wasn't dealing with homosexuality and none of this garbage. Come on, man. These niggas really want to make you think that because the Greeks might have been on that, you was on that. No. Mm-hmm. No, it wasn't the case, man. They want you to think that just because they're in the toilet, we're in the toilet too, and that's not the case, man. These niggas was, they would then, the slaves that would be born, what they call illiform or maladjusted, then they would take them, group them up into the baker's dozen, into the dozen, then they would get them to have sex with other so-called slaves, black people, prisoners of war. So then what does that do? That creates a whole generation, you understand, of Moors growing up in bondage, growing up in rape camps, growing up in buck barns, growing up being raped, growing up being dismembered, growing up seeing this for at least 200 years. You understand? That didn't happen. They wasn't systematically doing that. Even when they were doing that to other people, at least them other people were able to stay together because they had their own language. They still identified with one another. They had to get us to not identify with each other, not speak no language, not remember, not have no love for each other, nothing. Nobody had that much scrutiny on them, including the goddamn Jews they put in the ovens. Because the niggas that did that to them was Jews. So that shit don't count. That's some white on white crime shit.
Wow.
Yeah,
man.
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, that's deep, man. That I guess,
man.
and so people ain't really looking at the history of where it come from. You know what I'm saying? Because you had James Brown, like I said, running around with Tammy Terrell when she was 15. You had Elvis Presley marrying his wife. What was her? Something Presley when she was 16.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Arab Muhammad married Khadijah when she was 9.
9 years old.
You understand? That's why I don't with you. Because then that means I'm cool with that.
Yeah, you got Patrick Reaver this tapped in. She said that people do sell their soul for the money. You know what I'm saying? So you can believe that, man. You know.
Look, man. My grandma used to say, "Money make a man fast." And these Negroes, they don't believe in no God.
Money.
They're God. They're Freemasonry. These pastors, let me tell you something. And again, I don't want to be generous. This is everybody in the church, because it's not. You got real powerful spiritual people in the church, in the mosque, in the temple, in wherever else, right? The ashram or whatever. But it's the people at the top that's following them that have the issue. That they're following have the issues. Because all these guys is ripped up. Yeah. Guys, as much as they have this or that, they are a part of some sort of fraternal organization. And unfortunately, when Albert Pike and Thornton Jackson, that he was the black man who took Albert Pike's stuff and then gave that to the blacks. When they did that, he signed all of the so-called Masonic orders up under, at that was on the planet and would come after that. He agreed to sign them up and put them all up under what was called the Lucis Trust. The Lucis Trust is the universal trust of Lucifer, the devil. So when they say that they're riding the goat, or they're dealing with Jolly Roger, or all the little codes and little things that they use for that stuff, what you have to understand is that whole process that they have bonded themselves with is an entity itself. Because if it wasn't, then they would be more benevolent than they are. But they're the total opposite. They believe that their little core group is God, and everybody that's not down with them deserves whatever they give them. Just like the Jews believe, anybody that's not Jewish is Goyim. And therefore, if they're Goyim, they have the right to serve them, but the rest of their life they're going to have to do nothing. And that our children need to take it from us. We don't understand what they are. And they ground them up into the monster bread and put them into the jar. This is where, and if they come playing, look up Hasidic organ harvesting ring in Crown Heights. Look that shit up. That's been going on for almost 40 years now. Maybe just getting into that now. And who's the people at the top of this? These Ashkenazi Jews. But if I come out and say that, I'm being what? Anti-Semitic? How can I be anti-Semitic when Semitic means black? How can I be that when you're not actually what you're saying that you are? Because we're around a whole planet of people acting like us. Because we're not acting as ourselves. So nature abhors a void. So anything that's vacant, nature is going to allow something to fill it up. So you niggas is not practicing your culture and all that no more? Great. These Arabs are coming now. Now we created Islam. Great. You niggas ain't watching and paying attention and uniting around people trying to come and take your Buddhism? Okay, great. The Arabs are coming in, we're taking that. Okay, great. You niggas don't want to accept and hold down your ancient, Comedian, Kemetic, Egyptian, whatever culture? Great. The Arabs gonna come in, we're gonna take that. Same thing. Y'all niggas Native Americans, y'all niggas Moors, y'all niggas don't want to accept who you really are, like, you want to debate that? Great. These gonna be Native Americans. These gonna be, you see what I'm saying? Easy. And because we don't have a nationality, we're not considered a people. We're stuck. You just gotta just take what you get. So again, I can get killed by the police. God forbid. Then something happens. I want to get remedy. What happens? I gotta go to the same people who killed this person to get some sort of remedy. Does that make sense? No. Would a black people go do anything about it? No. Because they are happy. They are happy complaining every day about being downtrodden and controlled. They are happy with that. Because if they weren't, they'd do something about it. And that's how the right look like. He's very simple. We're not dealing with a rocket scientist. We're dealing with a caveman. You understand? And cavemen look at things the way very practical. Can I eat it? Can I have sex with it? Can I kill it? Or do I have to run from it? That's it. And if you think about every interaction you have with those people who act that way, it's one of the four things that you're dealing with. They either scared of you, they either want you to be scared of them, right? They want to know what you're doing, they want you to support them, and they want you to give up whatever information or whatever you have, whatever it is. Because they're used to it.
I know some things going on right now in Israel. Since you're speaking on the anti-Semitic thing, where in Tel Aviv, where they trying to kick out the Sudanese, the Eritreans, any Melanoid person they can.
They enslaving them.
Yeah, but yet they saying anti-Semitic.
They what you call it? More. They enslaving them. They sterilizing them. They sterilizing them without their knowledge.
In Israel.
But you understand, these are the same Jews that to legitimize themselves back in the 60s, they the ones that went into Operation Airlift to get all the philosopher Jews to bring them to Israel so that way all the Jews from all the different nationalities could rock. Then as soon as they got them there, they put them niggas in the ghetto, they started holding them down and all that because they need them to appear legitimate. But in the end, they hate them. You understand? They hate us. That's what I don't think we get. We are living amongst groups of people who hate us. And I mean black people too. Hate themselves, would rather procreate with anything else in the world but themselves, and then wonder why they don't get no respect in the planet. You will never see, I don't give a damn how much a bumblebee piss another bumblebee off. You ain't never going to see that bumblebee go have sex, go be like, you know what, I'm done with bumblebees. I'm going to just start having sex with butterflies. You'll never see it. You'll never see it. And if you do, it's a manufactured shit. Like when they put the aspartame, the azartine in the fluoride and all of that and was turning the frogs gay. And they went to the black man who was the geneticist to do the knowledge to it. And he came across the shit and they tried to silence him. Because he said, hey, the aspartame you putting in everything is making the frogs gay. So if you make huge quantities of that and put it into the everything, the toothpaste, the mouthwash, the this, the that, everybody's going to be gay. They said, you know what, here's your check. Keep quiet.
Yeah, so that's the new weapon, you know what I'm saying?
Do.
They just want to
secret weapon, man.
Yeah, put the weapon, the gay weapon out on the melanoid people, because you really ain't gonna have nothing left to defend us. They want to attack. They want to attack the melanoid greatness in us.
That breaks you down,
man.
Yeah.
Man, you see what happened when that dude attacked the sister in the McDonald's?
Yeah.
You see them two cuckold black men standing right next to her, letting that go down? You understand? They were supposed to go and at least break his arm. Two black men with that one sister.
They put slammed his ass. Yeah. They standing back just looking.
So what she got is one. Why? Because he got a job. He probably got kids. He probably got this. So that's probably the only job he got. So he's thinking about, again, self. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
in moments when we need to think about the collective, we automatically retreat to self. When the white people do that, it's the reverse. Their self
They
is
all
their
in.
collective.
Yeah, they all in together.
You understand? Their self is their collective. So as much as they don't want white supremacy, every white person on the planet is down with it because you haven't done anything as a universal people to dead it. So you benefit from it and you like it. Because it gives you something to do. It gives you a way to feel like you're not as racist as the other white people and this, and that. It's all a pathology. You have to understand, white people didn't exist until 1681. And they perpetuated it and created it in such a way that it gave these weak-minded, lowbrow, inbred white people the idea that they were on the same level as the rich white people that was oppressing them. And they would rather believe that than work with the people, us, that was trying to free them from slavery. I mean, granted, we was the ones enslaving them, but, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got to a point where we realized that wasn't going to rock no more. And so we set off this thing called the Bacon's Rebellion, and then white people said, look, we got to stop these whites and blacks from ever working together. So what we're going to do, we got to stop these Moors and these poor whites from ever working together. So what we're going to do, we're going to get, if we get 5 bowls of rice, we're going to give the white man, we're going to give the black man 3 grains, but we're going to give the white man 4 grains. If he get 5 bananas, the white man going to get 5 bananas, the black man going to get 4. And then what that's going to do is it's going to create an indemnity in them, an enmity between them. And it's going to make the white man feel like the more he do for us to shut this dude down, the more into the society will let him come in. But he'll never own anything. He'll never have nothing. We'll just create businesses and then tax them for the rest of their life. And they'll do it because they don't want to go back to the caves, number one. And number two, they want to feel like they better than them all. And the rest is history.
History.
So the pastors, you know what I'm saying? They're down with it. The police, they're down with it. The lawyers, they're down with it. Everybody's down with it. When you're a black person and you join up with one of their little alphabet agencies, you can never really come out talking about what your nationality and all that is, because what they look at it is as that you have agreed to be a part of them. Therefore, you can't be occupied. You can't be a prisoner of war. So now I can claim you openly, all for that government check that, as you see, niggas ain't even getting.
Yeah. Stop that
You know what I mean?
shit.
Yes, niggas will tell me, oh, you got to get a government job. That's the way to go. Government. Oh, yeah? You still want that government job now? Trump talking about he'll leave the shit shut down for a year. He don't care.
Wow.
He don't care.
How
And
you
guess
gonna
what?
eat?
Me
Yeah,
neither,
how you
because I
gonna
don't
eat?
live in the United States. That's
Right.
not my country. If that's what he want to do to his people and y'all niggas voted for that nigga to do that to y'all, then that's what y'all get. If you are dependent, you understand they got whole groups, TSA agents, these type of people got to work for free indefinitely. That's slavery. That's slavery. And y'all niggas still going to do it? Y'all niggas still think that this is how government's supposed to run? Like, if you have a government, man, and you have things, the law is supposed to be consistent through across the board. It's obvious that the law is not only biased, it's inherently corrupt. But are white men, black women trying to fix that? No. What these niggas is doing, they joining up with it. They going in it. They becoming congressmen and all of this stuff. With no real nationality, with no agenda, with no solution, going in, trying to get us to again conform to the meanderings of a caveman. The government was not set up the way that these Negroes think it was. Our phase in it got phased out after 1791. So from 1791 to now, they haven't had a real judge. They haven't had a real thing because everything they did, they violated. Think about this. If they fought a war with Britain to break out and have their own, where's the peace treaty that ended the American Revolutionary War with Britain?
None.
Oh, so if there's no treaty that ended the war, then what happened? So I had one more, I brought that up. One dude said, oh, what about the capitulation of Cornwallis? That's when he met Cornwallis. That's when Washington met this dude, Cornwallis, met the general at Cornwallis, and then he signed what they call the capitulation. But the capitulation said that the United States had to pay Britain gold back. So that wasn't a peace treaty.
Well, that would say something like Social Security's, right? The Social Security is a form of payment back to the Queen.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but see, the thing was, at the time that these things went down, our ancestors, those of us who prescribed to the Moorish American thing or the Moorish identity or Moor identity, we was in league with the king. What ended the so-called American Revolution was the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Morocco and the Almoracanos. And when you read the actual treaty and you actually read it in the different languages outside of just English, what you'll find is that the word Almoracanos in that treaty and American or Moroccan were used interchangeably based upon who you're dealing with. So that means the United States people like Jefferson and Barclay, who were the, I guess, translators, they had nothing to do with it other than writing it down for us. So ask yourself this. If the war was between the United States and Britain, but what ended, and there's no peace treaty to end that war, but the Moors had a treaty of peace and friendship in 1787, then renewed again in 1836. How is it that the one with the country they weren't fighting is the treaty that ended the war? This is what I mean, Moors, like, we're so grossly miseducated that our brothers and sisters, even when they're conscious, we're still dealing with our ego. We're still dealing with our own self-hatred, our own self-loathing. We're not asking the objective questions that we need to ask.
I got one question before we got like 10 minutes. The Prince Hall thing, with the fraternity and the sorority things. I was looking at reading a little things on Prince Hall and looking at some of the pics. He had on some of the George Washington wigs. This is a black man, dark.
Yeah.
Had on some of the George Washington wigs and swearing allegiance to the Greeks, right?
Yeah, you're right. But those so-called dudes were the ones that were at odds with the Moorish Empire of the day, and they wanted to basically be in league with the devil. They saw that the privateers, what was happening with the privateers, needed to change. And so they basically agreed to link up with them. So they went to ask for a charter from the G7 Lodge in what they call London. England at the time. The problem with that, though, was that if you look at an exotic map of the United States, right, which has the names of the original towns going back hundreds of years, you will find that England on that map was somewhere in the Midwest. You understand what I'm saying? Because that place that we know as England over there didn't become incorporated as England until the late 1800s. So where was England at in 1787? You see what I'm saying? Like, we're following these people based on their maps and this and that, and everything that they've ever told us is a lie. And then what I do, I wind up getting Moors and so-called Asiatics who wind up trying to make sense of these lies and then come to me like I'm saying something like out of ordinary, when really Prince Hall, all of those guys swore oaths against themselves.
Yeah, that's why
we were the ones that rode the camels and the horses and marched these people across the desert, and they were wearing the aprons. That's the ritual. So even if you don't believe that, any Freemason, that's the ritual y'all practicing. So the goal then is when you see them niggas and you ask them, okay, well, back in the day, when you walking or you ride, most black niggas are saying that they was walking. That's how you know. They crazy. They don't understand. And the white boy ain't gonna tell them the truth. The white boy will continue to let them feel that they ignorant. Because based on Albert Pike and the black Thornton Jackson, who was the head of the Prince Hall at the time, he gave the white boys the real secret and the fake rituals, and then gave the black boys the real rituals and the fake secret. And these niggas have been working with each other ever since. So if a time comes for a sacrifice from somebody that's involved in that stuff, to them it's not murder if the person was down with it. It's the fulfillment of ritual. But if somebody like us now that's not down with this stuff, they try to come and touch one of us, you see, that's murder now. So Kanye's mother, as an instance, you see what I'm saying? That's not murder. Because for all we know, he was down with it. And he even said it. Like, I'm not making it up. This shit he said. They said, what's wrong with you? He said, oh, when I killed my mother. Like, this is the shit he's saying. But he's so crazy. So maybe he meant it like, this is what we do. We start making excuses for this. Like, oh, well, he's crazy. So, yeah, he mean he killed her by not listening to her, blah, blah, blah. No. It's not what we mean.
Yeah,
just like everybody else that died.
True.
You have an order to do things.
We done lost almost 30 celebrities. Remember when we was kids? It would be like, it wouldn't be that often that a celebrity would die somebody like that. Now that shit is like every other day. It's like
We got somebody lost.
Fast, man.
Yeah.
That's the ritual.
So while we all watching R. Kelly and all condemning this next black man, who again, I'm not saying that he's anything other than what he is. But what I'm saying is that he ain't the devil. If we're going to indict somebody, indict the system that supports him and then made all that money and knew that he was doing that and paid to get him $20 to get him off. You ain't ready to do that? If you ready to go at R. Kelly, you're going to have to go at everybody.
Yeah, because he got help. He got like they kept saying in the documentary. They kept saying he had to have help. Yeah, he had to have help. It's people all around him that's aiding in the bed
and the niggas
right now.
Niggas right in the video,
man. He had people going to the high schools getting girls for him.
He paid people to do that, man. Yeah.
How can you go to the high schools and go and pick out young women for your boss? And pay that.
You said your boss.
Come on, man.
You on the payroll.
Come on. My thing is, Sparkle
you're getting paid to do that,
her
man.
niece to him. She knew.
You to do that, yeah.
She knew this nigga was on it like that. Then you want to bawl and cry on shit like you ain't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay you to
that's Sparkle, man. I blame her for bringing. You know, he was effing the heck up out of women anyway, and you brought your niece, your wild niece too.
Your niece,
because
that was your entrance.
And then
that
when
was
he peed on her and you seen it, you want to.
That was your burnt offering. Your sacrifice.
Legend has it that not only is the uncle of the young lady who's in the video still making music with R. Kelly, but she is still with him now to this day. The girl who's in the actual, the young girl who's in the Piss video.
Oh, she's still.
See.
Yeah, she probably got a career, man, off of that. She got a career off of that.
They all did.
Video.
That's what I'm trying to say, more. Let's stop with this pariah syndrome. When they drag a black nigga out, now we all got to crucify him too. Because what it do is show that we, one, still thinking like slaves, and two, we still believe in anything that this cracker put on that screen. And because Negroes don't do no knowledge, and because they know they got R. Kelly albums in their crib, and they know they done paid money to go see R. Kelly thing, and they know right now, on the right night, if they play an R. Kelly song in the club, they about to go in, period. Because, again, we are all living this life that is totally based in a on a Hippocratic oath, like it's all fake. If he lied about one thing, he lied about it all. And what I see is our people standing here always trying to find ways to justify the lie and go in on each other when we know damn well not only was he raped, his brothers was raped, his sisters was raped. Like, he comes from a raped
sister is
family.
A pastor in Chicago, which raped him, which they saying she's still raping young women. This is an ongoing thing, which is hereditary on down the line.
I just saw this clip on Facebook where this chick was twerking in a G-string with her baby on her ass. That's not molestation. That's not a pedophilic act. If I or you was sitting there with a G-string on, acting like I'm shaking my penis in front of my daughter or whatever, AC has to be at the house.
Man, going down.
It's a wrap.
But this brain dead black woman is down with it. This brain dead black man is down with it. They are down with the destruction of each other. They are down with seeing our children be debased and murdered and killed. Because if they wasn't, they'd do something about it. If they wasn't, they would stand up and say, you know what? It's time for our own communities. It's time for our own this. It's time for our own that. Let's get off of Facebook. Let's boycott Timberland. Let's boycott this. Let's whatever we got to do. Matter of fact, we all not going to take the bus. We're going to redo the bus walkout. But niggas ain't going to do that. You know why? Because niggas got jobs. You understand? Niggas work for the bus line now. The same bus line that they used to protest these niggas is now the foreman in it. So they're not trying to leave that. And this is how the white man gets you. This is how he gets you.
Put you on the team. Yeah, put you on the team.
Man, I'd like to thank you, man. Aseer, we our hours is up, man. You know, you be dropping that down. We got to have you back sometime else, man.
Inshallah, bro.
Yeah, tell the more and the people out here how can they get in touch with you and what you got coming up for the future for 2019.
Thanks, man. You guys can hit me up at houseofl@hotmail.com. If you're gonna, need to email me or holler at me about conversation, whatever, you can do so. You could also check out some of my older work on www.aseerthedukeoftears.com. Also, if you go to www.gumroad.com and type in Aseer the Duke of Tears in the chat, a lot of my digital classes and stuff will come up. And then you can hit me up on Facebook under Aseer Ali Cordoba. And for 2018, inshallah, when True Year starts, which again is for those people that don't know, our New Year, when you read the Bible, I believe it's either Deuteronomy or Exodus 12:2, something like that. It basically says that the New Year starts in March. So everybody that's been, for the years that they've been having us celebrate the New Year in January, that's the New Year for Janus. And Janus is another version of an entity called Malbosia. And Malbosia is another entity that they refer to as Lucifer. So when they drop the balls, that's the test these dropping for the New Year. And they have everybody support that because that's a heavy Wiccan day. It's a heavy witch day. But for those of us that's human beings, you know what I'm saying, our New Year, True Year, is in March. So by that time, I'm trying to have, I'm working on a documentary right now, specifically, and I have, I'm about to republish my comic book novel called The Dark Skull 418, and I'm coming out with another precursor to that novel as well, with like accessories like shirts and toys and all that, called John Henry and the Gilded Path. So definitely look out for that.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, man, I appreciate you guys.
Man, we love when you coming on, dropping them dimes, man. We have to come back, man. You
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. We appreciate you too, man.
Also, just real quick, I want to give respect to the Queen, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of this stuff. And just for her always holding it down, with our son and the things that, we need to do that sometimes takes me away. So I definitely want to give her respect. That's right. And thanks for that, because I wouldn't be able to do this shit without her.
Oh, yeah.
Inshallah.
Blessings, man, for sure.
Man, we love you coming on Truth Talk Nation, man. So, man,
Thank
like
you,
I said,
man.
you got to come back, man. Like, we'll be getting in contact with you. Like I said, we would love to come down to Miami and chop it up with you right there in person. Like I said, we're going to set that up one day. So,
Yep, coming to Miami soon, baby.
Man, peace.
At this stage, we all we got. So anything that we can do, I could do to help. Inshallah, I would like to. So again, thank you guys for even having a platform that's free from a lot of the drama and a lot of the black male hating that goes on in these platforms. So again, man, thank you guys for staying true to what the vision is with that,
Oh, thank you.
got
Thank
it,
you,
man.
Aseer, man. Like I said, we'll be getting in contact with you, and thanks, more.
Indeed, Morse. Love and light to you. Love and light to the human families of the planet Earth. Thank you guys for coming through once again.
Peace.
Peace out, Sarah. Have a good one, man.
Man, that was deep, man. Yo, you know what I'm
Deep,
saying?
man.
Like I said, man, another episode, Truth Talk Nation. T, what you think?
Man, that was beautiful, man. Hey, all I can say was, man, hey, man, it took me a lot to sit here and do this interview, man. I mean, I just wanted to sit back and just listen to Aseer, man. You know, he got a lot of jewels and knowledge to drop. So, hey, he took us to the book, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, man. Check out these books. You can get them on Amazon, eBay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They real cheap, $5, $10, $15, no more than $20. So it's excellent knowledge. So you know what I'm saying? We'll be back next week with some more knowledge and some footage, yo. T,
You know,
right?
man. You know, True Talk Nation, man.
So I'm Judo Woke Ace,
T. Mills the Great.
Mark from 7 Mile, man. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Holla.
Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio.